Please say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu 3 times. First of all, we are going to observe 5 places. For that, please say Namo Tassa 3 times. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Pānātipātā vēramaṇī sikkhapadang samādhiyāmi. Adennādānā vēramaṇī sikkhapadang samādhiyāmi. Kāmesu miccācārā vēramaṇī sikkhapadang samādhiyāmi. Musāvādā vēramaṇī sikkhapadang samādhiyāmi. Surāmēraya majjapamā daṭṭhānā vēramaṇī sikkhapadang samādhiyāmi. Surāmēraya majjapamā daṭṭhānā vēramaṇī sikkhapadang samādhiyāmi. Tisaranena sandhiṃ pañcasīlaṃ dhammang sādhukaṃ surakkitaṃ kattvā appamādena sampādeta. Samantā cakkavālesu atrā gaccantu devatāṃ saddhammang munirājassa sunanto sagga mokkadam. Dhammasavana kālo ayam badantā. Dhammasavana kālo ayam badantā. Dhammasavana kālo ayam badantā. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sammā sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sammā sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sammā sambuddhassa. Marana dhammom hi maranang anatītoti abhinhan pacca vekkhetam banti. Friends in Dhamma, dear devotees, all of you are gathering here for a special meritorious act, listening to Dhamma and also acquiring positive thoughts in our mind, we are going to transfer this spiritual energy to your beloved departed relative, Mrs. Bianca Pranando, who passed away a few days ago. As beloved mother and father, as beloved daughter, husband, and as beloved brothers and relatives, you are doing a very special meritorious act. Acquiring positive thoughts in our mind, we are going to share this spirituality with your departed relative, Mrs. Bianca Pranando. When someone passed away, we are unable to contact them physically or materially. We can do only thin, acquiring positive thoughts in our mind. We are going to transfer that merit to them. We are unable to connect them from hand to hand. We are going to connect her by mind to mind. That is the thing that we are doing here. For that, all of us should dedicate to this spiritual activity. First of all, we are going to practice a meditation technique. According to Buddhism, there are three meritorious deeds that we acquire: Dana, Sila, and Bhavana. Generosity, virtue, and meditation or mental culture. First of all, you observe 5 precepts. Now we are going to practice a meditation technique for our inner peace, acquiring positive thoughts, then we can transfer to her. At the beginning, for a few minutes, we are going to practice a meditation technique, Metta Bhavana, loving kindness meditation. Okay, dear friends in Dhamma, please get ready for your meditation, silence meditation. And please relax your body, straighten your body, and keep your right hand on the left hand. Please close your eyes gently. Be aware of your body posture that you are sitting here. From your legs to head and from your head to legs. And keep your attention around the nose or upper lip at the present moment. And keeping our attention around the nose or upper lip. Now we are going to spread loving kindness thoughts to everyone, those who are in this world. May all beings at this home be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. May all beings in this city be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. May all beings in this state be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. May all beings in this country be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. May all beings in this entire world be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation, the emancipation. I see the all over the world like my family, like my children. I am friendly with everyone, those who are in this world. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. By the power of these metta thoughts, loving kindness thoughts, may your departed relative, Mrs. Bianca Pranando, who passed away a few days ago, receive this merit, spirituality. May she have a blissful life. And finally, may she attain the final bliss of liberation, Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, dear friends in Dhamma, here we are going to listen to the Buddha's message, and listening to Buddha's message, we purify our mind. All the doctrines that Buddha has explained for 45 years can be summarized into one sentence. Sacitta Pariyodapanam, purifying one's mind. Whatever we do in the name of Buddhism, we focus on our mind, purifying our mind. We should understand the negativities that disturb our peace of mind. There are 3 unwholesome mental states that disturb our peace of mind. They are greed, anger, and delusion. By doing these activities, we trained our mind to overcome these negativities, negative thoughts, unwholesome mental states from our mind. Especially at this moment, we practice loving kindness thoughts to those who is departed. Mrs. Bianca Pranando, who passed away a few days ago. As beloved mother and father, Mrs. Manel and Mr. Dharmasena, and as beloved daughter, Himari, and as beloved husband, Mr. Hiran Pranando, as beloved brothers, Mr. Dulip and Saman, and relatives and friends, you came here to transfer merits to Mrs. Bianca. That is the thing that you are here. First of all, we should purify our mind. We should develop our spirituality. By acquiring positive thoughts, we are able to transfer merits to her. If she is needing merit, she can receive, she can gain this meritorious deeds, and she can enhance her spirituality, and she is able to develop his mind and have a better life, blissful life. That is the thing that we are doing here. When someone is dead, as grateful relatives and friends, we gather like this. What is the purpose of gathering this occasion? The very first thing is we share our condolences with the close relatives of the departed person. That is the first thing that we are doing here. As a monk, first of all, I would like to convey our deepest condolences to family of Mrs. Bianca. And also, not only that we do here, we specially transfer marriage to departed person. That is the thing that we are doing here. For that, first of all, we listening to Buddha's message. What is the nature of our life? Understanding our life is one of the highest merit that we can perform in our life. Buddha says there are 5 things we should contemplate on it again and again. The nature of our life. Buddha says, Jivitang aniyatang maranang niyatang. Life is uncertain, death is certain. This is the nature of our life. Buddha says, there are 5 things that we should contemplate on again and again. What they are? The very first thing is aging or decay. The second one is disease or illness. The third one is death. Fourth one is separation. Fifth one is karmic law, the karma that we acquire through our mind. Buddha says we should contemplate on that I am subject to decay or aging. I am not away from aging. This should be contemplated again and again. This is the very first thing. We are going to old age day by day. This should be constantly contemplated by the wise person. The second one is, you should understand, I am not away from disease or sickness. I am subject to disease. I am not away from diseases. This should be constantly contemplated by wise person. The third one, I am subject to death. I am not away from death. One day I have to become this situation. The fourth one is that separation. This is everything that is beloved and pleasing to me will change and will be separated from me. This also should be contemplated. And the fifth one is the karma, volitional actions that we do through our mind, physically, verbally, or mentally. The karma, if we do something with intention, physically, verbally, and mentally, that karma will come to us. I am not away from karma. Karma is my relative, that is my dowry. I am not away from the result of my karma. These 5 things should be constantly contemplated. What those 5 things? Aging, disease, death, separation, and karma. Why do we need to contemplate on these 5 things? Sometimes you may think that Buddhism shows us suffering. Actually, Buddhism not only shows the suffering, but the Buddhism explains the cessation of suffering. Therefore, first of all, we understand what is the suffering, then we can overcome suffering. If we know this reality, we always get ready for these challenges in our life. Our success depends on not only facing these challenges, but the energy, the spiritual energy that we have to face these challenges without suffering, without sorrow, lamentation, grief, and pain. Our success completely depends on how much we are ready to face these challenges with a strong mind, with an unshakable mind. In this situation, before we reach these realities in our life, we develop our mind. Not only that, we develop our spirituality. The main thing, the very valuable thing in our life is that our mind. Mind is forerunner. Mind is just chief. Mind made the day. If we do something with mind, with volitional actions, the results will come to us according to our mental situation. When our mind is wicked, then results are evil. When our mind is pure and calm, the results are fruitful. This is the nature we should understand. Here, first of all, I would like to explain a very short story which happened in Buddha's time. When the Supreme Buddha was living, there was a lady named Kisagotami. I think most of you have heard about Kisagotami. Kisagotami was a young lady. She had a baby. In young age, that baby was dead. But Kisagotami didn't accept that baby's death. She carried that baby to the Buddha, and she showed the baby to the Buddha, and she says, Bhante, please cure my baby. Buddha says, I can cure your baby, but you should do something. What is that? You should bring some mustard seeds. You know mustard seeds? Yes, you should bring some mustard seeds from a house. But there is some condition. What is that? There should not be a person who passed away at this house. You should bring some mustard seeds from a house where no one has passed away. That lady went to many houses. First of all, she asked mustard seed. You know, in India, every house has mustard seed. She could find mustard seed very easily. But after having mustard seeds, she asked, is there any person who has passed away here? Then everyone says, yes, my father passed away, my mother passed away, my brother passed away, my son passed away. Everyone says they have some funerals. They had some deaths among their parents, relatives, and friends. She went to many houses, hundreds of houses. When she was going from houses to houses, then she realized deaths are everywhere. There is no house where there is no death. Finally, she understood this death is common. It is not only for me. Everyone has experienced this kind of situations. Then she gave up her baby and she came to the Buddha. This is the lesson that Buddha taught her as her own experience. Then she understood this is the nature of the life, and after that Buddha explained the Dhamma to her, and she listening to Dhamma, she understood the Dhamma, she realized the Dhamma, finally she became a nun, and finally she liberated from suffering. In this situation, the very first thing is we should understand there are a lot of places, not only at our home, but everywhere we can see this reality. If we know this reality, we understand that death is neither beginning nor end. The death is like a transit. We are on a very long sansaric journey in the sansaric circle. This life is very valuable because we receive a very special Dhamma, sublime truth. In this situation, if we can listen into Dhamma and we can understand the Dhamma and we can develop our mind to the maximum level. You know, according to psychologists, they have discovered everyone needs three goals. What they are: self-actualization, self-realization, and self-fulfillment. The people who are in the world do everything for these goals. What they are: self-realization, self-actualization, and self-fulfillment. What is the self-realization? Self-realization means what is the nature of our life? Our life is body and mind. The nature of our life is that every moment our body changes, our mind also changes. The bottom level of our life is that 5 aggregates. There are 5 groups of consist in our life. They are Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. Rupa means forms, Vedana feeling, Sanya perception, Sankhara mental formations, and Vijnana consciousness. These are the 5 things which are in the bottom level of our life. But those things are invisible. We understand these 5 things through listening to Dhamma. If someone can understand, if someone can realize these 5 things, he can achieve the self-realization. The second one is self-actualization. What is the highest goal in our life? Our highest goal is that liberation or letting go. Liberation means getting rid of negativities or negative thoughts from our mind. They are getting rid of greed, anger, and delusion. This is the self-actualization. The third one is the self-fulfillment. Self-fulfillment means satisfaction, being happy. How do we achieve the real happiness? How do we achieve the real peace of mind? When we understand who we are, we can understand the defilements in our mind, and also we can achieve the final goal, happiness or peace of mind. This is the path Buddha has explained. The more we understand who I am, the more we overcome negative thoughts from our mind, especially ignorance or delusion. The more we overcome ignorance or delusion, the more we are able to overcome attachment and detachment or greed and anger. Now let's discuss about these doctrines in Buddhism. The very first thing is that Buddha says what our life is. Our life is that 6 senses and 6 objects. What are the 6 senses? Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. These are the internal senses. What are the objects? There are 6 external objects: forms, sounds, smell, taste, feeling, and mental formations. These 6 senses and 6 objects are the entire life of ours. If someone can understand this reality, he can understand what life is. First of all, we should understand one sense, our I form and I consciousness. When we see something, we see some forms through our eyes. We usually think that at the present moment, I understand something. When you look at me, you may think that at this moment, you identify me. But the truth is not like that. What is the truth? What is the reality? Reality is that when you look at me, the first experience is very instant. Our eye arises at the moment. According to our eyes, the forms arise, and also eye contact and eye consciousness arise. Not only they arise, but immediately they cease. When we recognize something, we are unable to recognize something through our eye consciousness. We recognize something through our mind consciousness. When we recognize something through our mind consciousness, the first experience has already ceased. Our eye has ceased, forms have ceased, eye consciousness has ceased, but because of our ignorance or delusion, we think that I understand something at the moment. Not only that, we think suffering or happiness comes from outside to our life. But nobody or nothing can bring us suffering or happiness. Happiness or suffering arises because of our point of view, our intention, our mind, our mental situation. If someone understands this reality, he is able to overcome suffering. I can give you an example. When you eat something with a plate, your hand has a plate. You take something to your mouth, and when you taste something, you usually think that the taste that you have at the moment, the food is like which is in the plate. But the taste that you have at the moment is the food is in your mouth. But you always think that the food you are tasting here is in the plate. But actually, we are tasting something which is mixed in our mouth. But always we look at the plate. Our entire life is like that. When you look at me, you think that this person is outside. Actually, there is a person outside. We can contact something through our eyes. But when we recognize it, the first experience has ceased. We recognize something not through our eye consciousness, but through our mind consciousness. For example, now, dear mom, Mrs. Manel Nona, and Mr. Dharmasena, and daughter Imari, beloved husband, Mr. Hiran Pranandu. When you think your daughter, your mom, your wife, what happens to you? You may cry, you are suffering, you are painful. What is the reason? The reason is when we think something, our mind suddenly goes to past. Still, those things are happening, we think. When you cry, what is the nature of your mind? You may think that my daughter, I remember my daughter was playing like that You can remember a lot of incidents, a lot of occasions in your life with your daughter. But those incidents, those stories have ceased. When we remember something, actually we remind our own mind. When we read our mind, those experiences have already ceased. Now we read our own mind. Actually, not only now, whenever you were living with your daughter, with your relative, at that moment, you had never connection physically. Even at this moment, we are never reach into forms or material world. The material world is divided into four: earth element, water element, fire element, and air element. We can experience these four fundamental elements through our senses. But when we recognize, when we have suffering or happiness, the very first experience has ceased. Even we live, we are unable to contact through the physical world. We usually contact with others through our mind consciousness. Then suffering or happiness arises according to our mental situation. When we are ignorant, suddenly we look at something, suddenly our mind is fixed outside material world. Then if someone is beautiful, we are happy. When someone is ugly or dirty, we get upset, we are angry. But suffering or happiness doesn't come from outside. For example, when you think your daughter, you are crying. But when someone thinks about your daughter, he or she doesn't cry. If suffering comes from outside, the experience should be equal for everyone. But it is not like that. According to our attachment, according to our mental situation, we get suffering or happiness. This is the reality of our life. When we see something, when we hear something, when we smell something, when we taste something, when we touch something, when we remember something, the very first experience is instant. It arises and ceases at the moment. When we remember, when we recognize something, we have connection through our mind consciousness. That mental situation is also impermanent. The first experience is also impermanent. The very immediate experience also impermanent. What is the meaning of impermanence? Impermanence means not just changing, but impermanence in Buddhism means everything arises and ceases at the moment. The previous experience doesn't come to the present. The present experience will not go to future. Not being occurred comes to occurrence. Being occurred will not go to occurrence. This is the reality. When we have this experience, we can remember anything which happened in the past. If we are mindful and wise, we don't worry. We see the world as reality. Our whole experience has already ceased. I have only the present moment, the present thought. My entire life is the present thought, present moment. that present moment arises and ceases. If we are mindful and wise, when we remember something which happened in the past, we suddenly understand those forms have already ceased. Now I remember, I read my present mind. Not only that, we understand the present mind also impermanent. This is the reality, this is the way, this is the self-realization. When we have this experience, do we have attachment or detachment? For an example, when we look at the sky, sometimes we can see the star or galaxy at the moment. But sometimes that star or galaxy has ceased for a long time. If we know this situation, we can see the stars, we can see the galaxy. If we know that galaxy has ceased already, if you have attachment with the galaxy, no, you can get a photo, you can take a picture, you can discuss about the star or galaxy. If you know very well that experience has ceased, you have no lust or anger because of this experience. Like that, when you look at me, when you remember something, if you know very well, those forms have ceased, now I read my mind. Now I am reading my mind. That mind also impermanent. Then we have no attachment or detachment because we have no ignorance, no delusion. We are completely in mindfulness and wisdom. Like that, when you do the funeral of Mrs. Bianca, you can do it successfully and peacefully. As ordinary persons, we have some pain, that is true. While we are doing these activities, we can understand this reality. Actually, we can overcome suffering. Not only that, we understand we are on the sansaric journey. We are in a sansaric circle. We are going from birth to birth. We have karmic energy. According to our karmic energy, it influences our life. If we have this understanding, we always try to develop our mind, purifying our mind. When we live together with others, we always help others spiritually. People usually help their relatives and friends with material things. They give food, clothes, shelter, jobs like that. If you give something as food to someone, it is useful for a few days. If you give someone a cloth, it is useful 1 or 2 years. If you give someone a job, that is useful only they get retired. If you give someone a shelter, that is useful until they die. But if we can help someone spiritually, practicing some qualities or Dhamma, that spirituality helps them for a blissful life hereafter. In this world, we are living in a very special time. We have a sublime message that we can develop our mind to the maximum level. Our success depends on purifying one's mind. Buddha explained the way how we purify our mind. The highest quality that we can practice is that mindfulness. Buddha says, practicing mindfulness is the only way for the purification of beings. Practicing mindfulness is the only way for getting rid of suffering. Practicing mindfulness is the only way for overcoming sorrow and lamentation. And practicing mindfulness is the only way for getting rid of pain and grief. Mindfulness is the best friend. What is the mindfulness? Mindfulness means being aware of our body and mind at the moment. We always live in the past experience. Even you recognize me at the moment, that also you are living in the past experience. What is the way how we live in the present moment? The way how we live in the present moment is that when you see something, when you hear something, if you understand the forms have ceased, now I recognize this something through my mind, mental formations and mind consciousness. That is the way how we live in the present moment. But usually, sometimes you have learned mindfulness. A lot of teachers may say that, please forget your past, forget your future, live in the present moment. When they see something, if they think that I am living in the present moment, actually that is ignorance. Living in the present moment means reflecting on impermanence which happened in the past. When we reflect on this reality, the forms have ceased. That is why Buddha says, Yatta patavecha apocha tejo vayo nagadati. Whose mind is not fixed in material world. That is the way how we overcome suffering. It means Buddhism doesn't say that there are no forms. Actually, there are forms. There is a material world in this world. But the very special thing, when we recognize, when we experience the material world, we are unable to live in the materials. We always live in the mind and mental formations. If we have this understanding, then we can achieve the self-fulfillment. What is the self-fulfillment? Happiness or emancipation. If we have this understanding, we meet a path. We find a path. What is the noble path? The noble eightfold path. This understanding belongs to Sammaditya or right understanding, right vision. If we have this right vision, then we have Samma Sankappa, right intention. When we have right intention, then we have right speech, Samma Vacha. When we have right speech, we have Samma Kammanta, right action. When we have right action, we have right livelihood, Samma Ajiva. When we have right livelihood, we have right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. We were born in this world in order to understand this reality. You know, according to new psychology, a lot of people have a problem. What is that? Why we were born in this world? Some people may think that I came to this world to have some children and I want to give them high education. Some people may think that I want to be famous in this world. But finally, what happens to them? At the old age, they have no satisfaction. When they go to the old age, when they come to diseases, when they reach the death, they are not happy. In the middle age, when they are young, they may be happy. When little by little, when they go to the old age, what happens to them? They are not happy, even though they are well educated, even though they are very rich, even though they have a lot of children who have good education. Finally, they die without satisfaction. What is the reason? The reason is that their goals depend on materials. Their goals depend on their children, their jobs, their money, their property. Even sometimes they depend on their physical body. If you depend on material world, be sure your life ends with suffering. That is why we should find a spiritual path. We should keep away our mind from material worlds. It doesn't mean that we should not do our duties and responsibilities for our children and relatives. While we are doing our duties and responsibilities for our children, relatives and friends and the world, we should know that my real success, real happiness depends on my mind. Then we always purify our mind. We always cleanse our mind from attachment, anger, and delusion. Reducing lust and anger completely depends on purifying our mind from ignorance. What is the ignorance? Ignorance means when we think something which happened past, our mind suddenly goes to past and our mind is fixed in material world. Then those material world changes. What happens to us? We worry. In this situation, if we can keep some refuge in our mind, understanding this reality, practicing mindfulness and wisdom, then day by day we can develop our mind, we can purify our mind. When you think this reality, do you have lust in your mind? Do you have anger with someone? Actually, we have no lust or anger or ill will. This is the nature of the Dhamma. Sanditiko akaliko. Dhamma is well expounded by the Blessed One. Visible results immediately effective. Sanditiko akaliko. These are the qualities of the Dhamma. Visible results immediately effective. With this understanding, dear children, you can learn, you can study very well. No problem. You can take your bachelor degree, master degree, even doctorate, double doctorate, you can pass. You can gain your doctorate, not only one doctorate, you can pass double doctorate. But we should understand our final happiness should not depend on outside world. We should have a confidence that my mind is the main thing which decides my happiness. Then we take care of our mind. We usually take care of outside world, persons and other materials, but we usually don't take care of our mind. Buddhism explains the way how we take care of our mind. The way how we take care of our mind is that practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness means the past has ceased, the future hasn't come yet. I have the present moment. That present moment is also the mind, mental formations, and mind consciousness. Those things are also impermanent. They arise and cease at the moment. If you have this understanding day by day, we reach the liberation from negativities, from ignorance. Not only that, we encourage our close relatives and friends to practice this path. This path doesn't belong to Buddhism. The Buddha didn't preach for Buddhism, but for those who are wise, who are seeking the truth. Buddha explained this message for those who are wise, who are seeking the inner peace. If you want to achieve the real peace, if you want to overcome suffering, then you can practice this path, mindfulness. For mindfulness, first of all, we should have discipline in our speech and behavior. In the Karanimetta Sutta, the discourse of loving kindness, we can see some primary qualities that we should practice on this path. There is a very special sentence that Nacha kuddhan samachare kinchi yena vinyo pare upavadeyum. If we have this understanding, we don't do any slight wrong conduct which is considered by the wise. Why is that? What is the reason? We don't like to suffer. Nobody likes to get suffering. Everyone likes happiness. In this situation, every moment, always, we protect our mind. While we are going on the path of protecting our mind, the very first stage is that discipline in our speech and behavior. Sila, virtue, moral conduct. When we do something, when we speak something, we think again and again whether it is correct or not. We are going on the path of liberation. In this situation, Buddha has explained the 5 things should be constantly contemplated. What they are: aging, disease, death, separation, and karma. These 5 things depend on this world. If you have this understanding, we are not going to old ages mentally. Even though physically we are in the old age, mentally we are young. Even though physically we are subject to die, but mentally we don't die. Physically we are facing diseases, sicknesses. Mentally we are healthy. Physically we separate from our beloved relatives and friends. Mentally we are living with them. Why is that? If you can remember some activities that you did with Mrs. Bianga, actually at the moment she is not dead. She is alive at the moment. If you can remember something that you did with her as good activities, at the moment you are living with her. Actually, this is the reality. With this understanding, day by day we go forward, we practice 3 disciplines in our life. Buddha says on this path, we have discipline in our speech and behavior, sila, and also we concentrate our mind in the present moment, and also we practice mindfulness, being aware of our body and mind. On this path, day by day, we are going to higher level in our spirituality. Day by day, we are going to higher happiness. But ordinary people are going to old age, then they are going to suffering. But we who know the Dhamma, always going to happiness. Day by day we develop our inner peace, happiness. The reason is that our happiness doesn't depend on material things and persons. While we are doing our responsibilities and duties for the world, we develop our mind practicing this path. Okay, I think that at this moment you could develop your mind with spirituality. You acquired positive thoughts in your mind. That is the thing that you are going to transfer to your beloved departed relative, Mrs. Bianga. Buddha says, as the result of practicing this path, what is the measurement that we have? Buddha says the measurement. What is the measurement? Measurement is that let's live happily without anger among the people, those who are angry. Let's live happily without anger among the people, those who are angry. This is the measurement that you are successful. If someone can make you angry, you are not successful. Even though you are well educated, even though you are very rich, even though your complexion is very beautiful, if someone can make you angry or lustful, actually you are not successful. In this situation, Buddha says, one of the measurements that we can check whether we are successful is that let's live happily without anger among the people, those who are angry. The second one is that let's live without mental illnesses among the people, those who are mentally ill. What are the mental illnesses? Mental illnesses are conceit, anger, ill will, ignorance, greed. These are the mental illnesses. If we have this understanding, we can live mentally healthy among the people, those who are mentally ill. This is also one of the signs that we can check whether we are successful. Again, Buddha says, let's live without any defilements among the people, those who have defilements, like a divine being. If we have this understanding, we are like the Brahma beings who are in the heaven. Physically, we are in the human world. Mentally, we are in the Brahma realm. Buddha explained the way how we make this world the Brahma realm. Buddha has pointed out the way how we achieve these goals. For that, little by little, we should practice generosity or dana, and we practice virtue or sila or moral conduct, and also finally we have to practice only one thing. What is that? Mindfulness. Mindfulness is our best friend. Whenever we are mindful, nobody or nothing can disturb your peace of mind. Whenever you are away from mindfulness, anyone or anything can disturb your peace of mind. You should be proud of that. Nobody can disturb my peace of mind. In this situation, the discourse of Mangala Sutta, Buddha says, the highest skill that we have There he says, assistance puttassa loka dhammehi chittang yassana kampati asokang virajang khemam etam mangalamuttamam. If someone can make an unshakable mind among the worldly conditions, labha alabha, gain and loss, yasa ayasa, honor and dishonor, prasansa aninda, praise and blame, and sapaduk, happiness and misery. Among these worldly conditions, if someone make an unshakable mind, this is the highest bliss in our life. We were born in this world in order to achieve this final goal. For that, Buddhism has explained the path. It is very clearly. Dhamma is well expounded by the Blessed One. Visible results immediately effective, calling one to come and see, leading onwards, and to be personally realized by the wise. As the result of this path, Buddha says, Attadepa bhikkhave vihrata sarana na anya sarana. Dwell with yourself as a refuge, as an island, with no other refuge. Dhammadepa bhikkhave vihrata dhamma sarana na anya sarana. Dwell with the Dhamma as a refuge, as an island, with no other refuge. Dhamma and my mind is the real refuge. For that, we have to add the Dhamma to our mind. What is the Dhamma? Dhamma is mindfulness. Be sure, whenever you are away from mindfulness, then suffering comes to you. That is why Buddhism says suffering completely comes to the person, those who are ignorant. Suffering never comes to the person, those who are mindful and who are wise. Whenever you are angry, whenever your mind is lustful, whenever you have conceit, jealousy, be sure that at the moment you have no mindfulness. Then you are suffering. In this situation, let's try to develop our mindfulness day by day. For that, I wish you all the best. By the power of this spirituality, may you be well, happy and peaceful. Have any question? Have any question? Okay, dear friends in Dhamma. Okay, ma'am, we know your condition. Actually, that is common for, every mother is like that. That is common. That is the thing that we have. But we have to understand this Dhamma. When we are suffering, our relatives are not happy. When we are unhappy, our relatives are not happy. If you want to make your daughter happy, you should face this challenge successfully without suffering. That is the way you can really help your daughter. Not only that, you can take care of very well her daughter, which is the dream of your daughter. That is the way that you can help her. And also, if she needed something, if she wished something, we should make them true. That is the thing that we can do at this moment. Okay, by the power of these meritorious deeds, now we are going to transfer these merits to your beloved daughter, Mrs. Manil and Mr. Dharmasena, beloved mom of Imali Dua, and beloved wife of Mr. Hiran Pranando, beloved sister of Mr. Saman and Mr. Dulip, and beloved relative and friend of yours. May she is needed in merit. May she rejoice with this spirituality. May she enhance her spiritual energy. Finally, may she attain the final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's share these merits with your departed relative, Mrs. Bianca Pranando, who passed away a few days ago, reciting the Gatha. Idam me ñātīnam hotu sukitā hontu ñātayo. Idam me ñātīnam hotu sukitā hontu ñātayo. Idam me ñātīnam hotu sukitā hontu ñātayo. By the power of all these meritorious deeds, may guardian deities and angels also receive this spirituality. May they enhance their divine energy. May they keep their eye on you too. Especially may they protect beloved parents, daughter and husband and all of you. With that intention, let's share these merits with deities and angels too. Akāsattā ca bhummattā devānāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkantu sāsanam. Akāsattā ca bhummattā devānāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkantu desanam. Akāsattā ca bhummattā devānāgā mahiddhikā puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkantu tvaṃ sada. Okay, dear friends in Dhamma, as grateful relatives and friends, all of you gathered here, and you're listening to Dhamma, and you develop your spirituality, and you transfer merits to your departed relative, friend, Mrs. Bianca Pranando. This is only thing that we can do at this moment. You know, if she were with us, we had to help her with some things, with some material things. You know very well, after someone passed away, we have no any physical connection. We can do only help them from mind to mind. That is the thing that you are doing here. You did here. You can be happy. You can reduce your sorrow and lamentation when you think this meritorious deed. Even though death is a misfortune in our life, as Buddha's followers, we overcome our sorrow and lamentation by doing good activities, by practicing generosity, observing precepts, contemplating on the qualities of the Buddha, listening to Dhamma, and these are the qualities, doctrines that we practice to overcome our suffering. That is the thing that you did here. You can be happy and you can reduce your sorrow in your mind, and we really appreciate your participation. As grateful relatives and friends, you did this spiritual activity on behalf of Mrs. Bianca Pranando, who passed away a few days ago. Okay, again we wish that may she have a blissful life. Finally, may she attain the final bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivādana sīlissa niccang buddhāpachāyino Chattāro dhammā vaddhanti āyuvanno sukhang balam ආයුරාරෝග්‍ය සම්පන්තේ සග්ග සම්පත්ති මේවච අතෝ නිබ්බාන සම්පන්ති ඉමිනාතේ සමිඤ්ජතු. May the triple gem bless you. All the blessings be with you. Okay, thank you so much.